Today on RCVTV, we're going to be taking a look at the Archon by Aspire. Alright, here we have the Archon packaging. Let's tear into this sucker and see what comes included. So right on the top you have your user manual in a multiple of languages. And then also have your warranty card. Of course your device itself. And under the styrofoam you've got a micro USB cable used for charging or updating the firmware. Put this all back together here. Now, here's your device. One of the first things I noticed about this, when you pull this battery taco off, is they have that warning in there. More manufacturers need to put something like that inside their devices so that people know not to use very poor battery wraps. So let's install some batteries here. Now, one feature I'm going to show you as I'm installing the battery, if you hold down the fire button while installing the last battery, as it comes on, you're going to be able to change your language, English or Chinese. Now I'm going to drop a battery out. Drop battery out, fire button, put the battery back in so I can put it back to English. There we go, so now it's set to English. Boom. So, first neat thing about this that you're going to notice, it has an orientation sensor. As you turn it, the screen flips, which is very cool. So, let's quickly go through the specs on this guy before we start diving down a little deeper into it. So, this is a 150 watt device. Output voltage is 0 to 8.5 volts. Resistance, it'll fire down to a 0.05 up to 3.5, whether it's in wattage mode or TC mode. It does have an adjustable continuous fire time that can be adjusted anywhere from 5 seconds to 15 seconds. Temperature control range is 200 to 600 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 to 315 degrees Celsius. So that's it. Let's throw a tank on here so we don't constantly see that no atomizer. Throwing on the Cleto 120. For more information on the Cleto, check the link below to our video. So let's start going through features. So first one, we're going to look at the locking mode. So we can lock the buttons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's in lock. Nothing else will work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turns it back on. Now to actually turn the device off, you're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put it in lock. Then you're going to hold down the fire button for 3 seconds. Now it's going to turn itself off. So obviously turn it back on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks. Stealth mode. 1, 2, 3 clicks. Now when you fire it, you can hear it firing, no lights. Bring it back out of stealth mode, 1, 2, 3. So you've got your wattage up and down buttons here. And they actually have a plus minus on them. And you got these two buttons up here that say W and T. So obviously wattage and temp. If we hit the wattage button, we're going to scroll through kind of all the different settings. So you got your regular wattage mode. You can switch it just to using voltage. You got a bypass mode, and then C1, C2, C3. So those are for the CFBP mode. That's the continuous firing button profiles. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the video. All right, I'm gonna dive down even closer up just to show you a few more features where we need it really close up so you can really see the screen. So give me a second. So let's look at locking and unlocking the buttons. So for this, you're gonna hit W and plus, and there you see you got that lock. So now it won't adjust, but I can still fire. W and plus to unlock it. Now we can change that. Alright, let's look at the child lock and unlock feature. Just gonna hit the W and the minus at the same time. So here we go. So we can type in a password so we can keep the little kitties away from the machine. Out of the factory, it is set at 000. Now, I was monkeying with this earlier on, getting a feel for the machine, so I changed that. So I changed it to 111. So now she's locked. So now to unlock it, you're gonna have to hit W and minus again. And we're gonna scroll over to the 1 and 111. There we go. Now to change your password, now you want to scroll either direction until we get to that arrow. It says reset, hit the fire button. You got to type in your old password. So 111, and now we can put the new one in. I'll put it at 000, and then W and minus to set it. Get back in there. Now it's 000. Boom, she locks. W minus 000, unlocked. So let's take a peek at how you change the logo. As you see, it does say RCV. Right out of the box, it does say Aspire. So to change that logo, you're going to hit T and the minus sign. So there you go, the alphabet pops up. W is your backspace. T changes it from uppercase to lowercase. And then your plus minus scrolls through the letters, and fire sets the letters, so we'll put RCV back on there. And then to lock that in, you're going to hit T and minus again. Okay, let's take a look at the continuous firing button profile. So let's scroll through here, hitting the W until we get to C. We're going to hold down the W button. Now we can adjust this. So you can adjust the way this machine fires in half-second increments up to 10 seconds. So if we're hitting the W, as you see that little cursor on the bottom, right down there, and then it shows you the seconds there. So 1 second, 2 second, 2.5 seconds, blah, blah, blah. And in each of those little increments, you can set the wattage that it fires at. So this one, I'll quickly walk you through this. So right off the hop, we're going to have it set at 100 watts. Then we're going to move it over to 0.5 seconds. It's firing at 110. We'll change that down to 108. Now 1 second, it goes down to 100 watts. 1.5, it's still at 100 watts. 2 seconds is 100 watts. Then 2.5, it drops down to 90. 3 seconds, it's still at 90. 3.5 drops down to 80. So on and so forth. And you can adjust all of those all the way up to 10 seconds, which is kind of a neat feature. Very, very, very customizable. To get out of there, you just hit the fire button. Like I said, you've got 3 different ones that you can preset in case you've got 3 different tanks you like to use. So let's talk a little bit more about temp mode. So we know if we hit the T button, we can change it to temp mode, and you can change the material that your coil is made out of. For a little bit more fine tuning in there, we are going to hit T and the plus sign. So once we get in here, now we can scroll through your different materials or your TCR settings. You can also change your wattage. So let's say we're throwing a nickel coil in there, and then now we want it firing at 66.7 seconds, or sorry, watts. That's how you do it. And now to get back out of here, you hit the T and the plus sign again. So that takes you there. And now your plus minus, once you're in the temperature control mode, changes the degrees, and it's set to fire at 66.7 watts. One other neat function on this, so most devices have a 10-second cutoff. Now this one is adjustable anywhere from 5 seconds to 15 seconds. Kind of funny way to get into it though. You can't just adjust it at any time. You actually have to let it get to that 10-second cutoff before you can adjust it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the wattage way down on here. Just so I don't burn out my coil. So there we go. So I have it set at 1 watt, and I'm going to sit here and fire it. So once you hit your whatever you had it preset at, it usually comes like out of the box. It comes at 10 seconds. I had already been playing around with this, getting a feel for the device, so I moved it down to 5 seconds. So let's do that again. So fire it. It's going to fire for 10 seconds now. And then there. Once you hit that 10 seconds or whatever you had it set at, then you can adjust it. Kind of weird way to get to it, but it's still kind of a cool feature. And then it just goes away after a couple seconds. So there you have the Archon. Tons of stuff that you can customize on this guy. Tons of features. Let's go back up top and take a vape on it. Alright, so here we have the Archon with the Cleto 120 sitting on top of it. For more information on the Cleto 120, check the link below to our video. I've got it set just in plain wattage mode at 100 watts. None of that fancy continuous firing button profiles or anything. So let's take a vape. Works like a charm. Alright folks, thanks so much for watching, and as always, subscribe to the channel, like the videos.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Like us on Facebook, and until next time,
Make smart choices.
choices.